everybody, and thank you for giving me the opportunity to present my literature review, Quantifying the Value and Preferences for Sustainable Professional Pharmacy Services. My name is Clémence Pérodin, and I'm Health Economic at the Center for Primary Care and Public Health in Lausanne, in Switzerland. This work was done in collaboration with Professor Joachim Marty and Professor Olivier Bugnon. So in introduction, the design of professional pharmacy services should consider preferences of the stakeholders for optimal resource allocation and effective implementation in primary care. And from the consumer perspective, the researcher must help decision makers to know which characteristics influence their pharmacy choice, how much patients are willing to pay to manage a minor illness in pharmacy rather than in general practice, and for what trade-off. On another perspective, what are the preferences of pharmacists when they choose a job, or how much they're willing to accept to deliver PPS? Other perspectives are important too in order to design professional pharmacy services, PPS, that match views, preferences, and needs. To elicit individual preferences, several methods exist, but today we focus on stated preferences methods. That means people declare what they would do rather than prefer based on hypothetical scenarios. And today we focus on discrete choice experiments, best for scanning and conjoint analysis that are the most used methodologies, and in which people are asked to make choices between alternatives described by several characteristics. Stated preferences methods are proposed to provide quantitative information on individual preferences, notably to identify which characteristics of PPS respondents like, and to assess the heterogeneity of these preferences, to quantify the trade-off between the different attributes or characteristics, to predict uptake for a new professional pharmacy service, and to estimate willingness to pay for a PPS of characteristics. Stated preferences methods are underpinned by the random utility and Lancaster's theories, economic theories, and assume that individuals make rational choices, and these choices revealed which option they preferred, as it provides them the greatest utility. Moreover, the good and service can be described in terms of a set of characteristics. These methods have many applications in market research, transport, and environmental economics, and the first uses in healthcare date back to the early 90s. Here I show you an illustration of a DCE in the context of PPS. So imagine you have a headache and a fever, your bones are hacking, and your nose feels slightly blocked. You are still able to do all the things you usually do, but are more tired than usual. And the symptoms started to appear 4 days ago and were slightly worse when you woke up in this morning. So the choice question in the DCE is which option would you choose? And you see that option is described by 3 attributes. So the first one is a type of management, and this attribute can take in the different levels as a GP or pharmacy. The availability defined as the length of time you would have to wait before you can deal with your symptoms. Here, 2 days or 1 hour, and the cost. So the option 2 will cost you $7, and the option 2 $15. So which option would you choose? Option 1, 2, or do nothing? And so you have to do another choice. Here in the second table, it's the same scenario and choice question, but now the options level are changed. Ici, so the type of management, availability, and cost, and so you have to decide again which option will you choose, option 1, 2, or do nothing. And the iteration of your answers, so this complete DCE survey includes 9 choices to do by respondents, and the iteration of your answer will be analyzed to estimate which attributes levels you prefer, the strengths of each one, and your willingness to pay. So now that you are familiar with this method, the objectives of my literature review was to identify studies designed to elicit preferences for PPS in community pharmacy setting and using DCE or best-worst scaling or conjoint analysis to map the study, to synthesize the main finding, and to assess the methodological quality. And the overall aim of my project is to promote the use of these methods in the context of implementation and sustainability of PPS. So my search strategy for my method is derived from 2 previous systematic reviews, and the research was conducted in PubMed for 2015 to March 2020. The quality will check thanks to one of 2 existing checklists, and we have to see and verify that quality, methodological quality must be ensured in all stages of the process to conduct DCE or the methodology. So for the finding, 25 studies have been identified. Studies were mainly conducted in United States and UK. So 20 studies assess the consumer perspectives and in different contexts, and only 6 studies assess the pharmacist perspective, including 3 studies on their job choices. So to detail the studies that assess consumer preferences, I illustrate here the choice questions and the number of different attributes included in the study. So for 7 studies, respondents were asked to choose a pharmacy with an average of 8 attributes describing these pharmacies, for instance, hours of operation, pharmacy access or location, staff attitudes or cost. 7 studies assess the consumer preferences for a specific PPS according to an average of 6 attributes, such as service duration, frequencies, setting, service content or cost. And finally, 6 studies assess PPS as a management strategy compared to others like GP or self-care in the context of management of mental illness of chronic disease. And finally, we observed that monetary attributes were often integrated to estimate willingness to pay and cost appears as an important attribute. So here I selected some findings of consumer preferences to illustrate examples of results that can be achieved with stated preference methods. So here for the first study, respondents valued a pharmacy who offered appointments in the pharmacy, with the pharmacy who have access to full medical records and with providing point-of-care testing and drug prescribing. And the second selected study showed that asthma patients from Australia valued the PPS included, for example, private area, provision of lung function testing. And the study shows that respondents were willing to pay 95 Australian dollar for the optimal services. In the other context is 2 studies that assess the preferences of patients for the management of minor symptoms, and we see that preferences are different according to the severity of symptoms. And here in this study, respondents value the pharmacy service, improving their understanding of symptoms provided by a friendly and approachable and trained pharmacist, and their willingness to pay £55 for the optimal service. So, in conclusion, the use of these methods provides robust and powerful information for establishing smarter and sustainable PPS for health systems. And nevertheless, we have to be cautious with attributes assessed because they are dependent on national context and must be defined thanks to qualitative methods in the study setting. Moreover, high methodological quality needed in all stages of the process for these methods. Perspectives of this review will be to focus on studies that assess preferences of other stakeholders, such as physicians, insurers, or policymakers for these professional pharmacy services, and to integrate other methodologies not taken into account in this review. For instance, contingent valuation, which are another method to estimate willingness to pay and willingness to accept, and more focus on this aspect of preferences. So thank you very much for taking the time to listen to my presentation. Don't hesitate to ask me a question or contact me by email. And all the references are available at the end of this presentation. So bye.